Hello, I'm Ted Morrissey. I just wanted to welcome you to this course in experimental writing. Just do a little quick welcome video here. As you may know, if you've already checked out the course online, there are two texts that we'll be dealing with this session. The first that we're going to be using is Best American Experimental Writing 2020, an anthology of a bunch of different authors' experimental works. We're going to be spending basically the first 4 weeks or so with this book. The first week, we're just going to be kind of dealing with some introductory material, which gets at a lot of issues or brings up a lot of interesting questions, kind of surrounding what it even means to be experimental and those kinds of things. So that's going to be our first, our first assignment, if you will, is reading that introductory material and then sharing some of our thoughts on that. And then we're going to, for the next 3 weeks, we're going to look at some of the material in the anthology. There is a method to my madness. That first week that we'll be dipping into reading some of the material itself. The choices I've put on the syllabus are not super experimental. They're a little more towards the traditional side. And then the week after that, we're going to look at some readings that are kind of medium experimental, if you will. And then the final week that we're working with this book, we're going to look at the really, really kind of way out there stuff in terms of narration and narrative technique and so forth. And then the last half of the course or so, we're going to be looking at this book, which is The Melancholy of Anatomy by Shelley Jackson. It's more experimental in terms of the concept of the book as opposed to the actual narrative technique itself. But I've been a big fan of Shelley Jackson for years and years and years. I don't know, maybe 2002, 2003. I first discovered her and have been, like I said, a big fan ever since. In fact, she was the inspiration for my last novel, The Artist Spoke, which came out in the fall of 2020. So, yeah, she's had a big influence on my writing and my way of thinking about writing and so on. So that's the reading material that we're going to cover. Like I said, first things out of the anthology, and then we'll look at the Melancholy of Anatomy for, I think it's 3 weeks. It's on the syllabus. And then ultimately, you're going to be trying your own experimental writing. Just from the start here, as you start to look through this material and start to think about that final project, I just want to really encourage you to let your creative gorilla out of the cage. I think oftentimes in writing courses, creative writing courses, you are, somewhat pinned down to the way you can tell a story, the way your voice can sound, the way you can put narrative elements together. Throw all that out the window. Not that it's bad, but in this course, anything goes. So just really start to think about, all the different ways that one can tell a story, and maybe some ways you've maybe been interested in telling a story but haven't been so bold yet, or something like that. Obviously, it's something we'll be talking about throughout the session, and so you'll have plenty of time to kind of ponder and come up with ideas and that kind of thing. That's pretty much it. That's kind of the course in a nutshell. I really enjoy teaching it. I hopefully you will enjoy taking it. And throughout the time, I'll be looking forward to interacting with you. On the discussion board. I'll be doing videos on a weekly basis to kind of highlight certain ideas that I want you to kind of take away from the text. I'll also be posting announcements that are kind of notes or lecture notes, so however you want to think of them, each week, and asking you to read and respond to those in addition to the discussion questions. But I'll explain all that in a little more detail kind of going forward here. If you have any questions, obviously just drop me an email. I'll be happy to respond to that. Some students actually like to do like a phone call. Just to kind of say hey and talk in real time, and I'm fine with that. So if you'd like to set up some kind of telephone conference or a Zoom conference or Skype or something, I'm certainly fine with any of that. Just kind of whatever suits you and your learning style or what have you. And that's pretty much all I want to put out there. So I'm looking forward to working with you these next few weeks. And again, welcome to experimental writing.